2017-2018 Men's Basketball Coaches Show. I'm Lloyd Shoemaker, your host, and sitting next to me is the star of the program, Coach Grasso, a brand new coach with the Piqua boys men's basketball team this year. Coach, welcome to Piqua High School. We're glad to have you here. Why did you come to Piqua High School?
Well, very excited to start up a new era of basketball here. Was formerly the head coach at Yellow Springs High School for 3 years. Coached a special team there that was a regional finalist, and had the opportunity this spring to meet up with the principal and athletic director, who have followed me on my journey as a coach. And the principal actually was a coach of mine and a teacher of mine, Mr. Messick, when I was in high school. And they reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in coming out and talking to them about the job, and it just kind of worked out. So
you've had several practices so far. You've had some scrimmage games. You got one tonight, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
We're doing this on Tuesday afternoon. I think it's the 28th of November,
yep.
Something like that. So, and I was at one of your practices, and I gotta give you credit, man. You run with the kids.
Hey, got to do it while I can.
Yeah, and you weren't huffing and puffing either, so you must be in pretty good shape.
Hey, yeah.
Scrimmages, you've had how many so far?
We've had 4 so far.
How you looking?
Well, I think we have prospects of being an extremely competitive team this year. We have some pretty decent athletes that are not just basketball players, but athletes and that play a variety of different sports and have success. A few who will be playing sports at the college level. So when you have players like that, athletes like that, it definitely gives you a chance to be competitive.
I don't know what your history has been with the size of your teams. Piqua over the years has been a team that just has not been able to attract the tall kids. I don't know if we're not recruiting right, if we're not offering enough benefits, or what the program is. But it's been probably 4 years ago, we had a Holbein kid that was 6'6".
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest we've had for a while. We had Nate Monin, which was 6'6" in every direction.
Yeah.
He was a people mover.
Yeah.
He could get in there and play. And I remember the first time I saw him do a reverse pivot in that center, and I thought, wow, this kid's going to be okay by the time he's out of here as a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Your tallest player, Hayden Shrub, 6'2", 6'3". Last year he was your point guard. This year he could be your center. How's that working out?
Hayden is a player who will be in a guard position for us. Luckily, the majority of the varsity is anywhere between 5'11" to 6'2", so we can I say that luckily because the style of play that we play will be an opportunity for all the players to guard different positions and be in different areas of the floor. So Hayden, for example, will be a guy who occasionally guards the other team's best guard, and occasionally will have to guard a post player as well. It's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, because you're going to end up playing against teams, Trotwood, for instance, Sydney, some of the teams down in the southern part of the G-Walk that you're going to cross over to. They're going to have the 6'8" kids. They're going to have the 6'7" kids. And at the practice I was at, you've got some nice bodies, but you don't have the big body like you had in Amon before.
That's true. But we have, like I said, we can make up for it with a little bit of speed and athleticism. That's kind of we might not have the height, but we'll have the quickness and the speed to kind of.
Well, it's kind of interesting you say that, because my son is a pretty good golfer, a lot better than I am, and he has a tendency to outdrive me by quite a distance. And he always says to me, the difference between your drive and mine. And I said, no, what that? He said, a new mall they're going to build. But in basketball, it's not how tall you are; it's how many points you score. Have you got the shooters?
Well. We have some guys that can shoot it in. With the style of play that we're playing, our defense is going to predicate our offense. So we hope to. The first thing we're trying to do is get the easy baskets if we can, so we don't have to score over those big guys. We can get out and get some easy baskets going in the full court. So hopefully that way, we won't have to try to score over those 6'6" and 6'8" guys.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, you got guys like Ben Smeezing.
Yeah.
Playing this year as a senior, very physical player, 6 foot tall, 6'1" at the most, just very physical in there.
Yeah, Ben is he's a special kid. He's a hard worker, selfless player, and young man going to Ohio State actually to play football as a preferred walk-on. So that tells you everything you need to know about his his athletic ability. And he's just a kid who will do whatever it takes for his team to be successful. So he might be another one who is down in the paint mixing it up with those big guys, and he may not be the tallest out there, but he's going to outwork each and every one of those guys.
Well, he's got good jumping ability too. He's got strong legs, and he does get up on the boards pretty good.
Yep.
Mick Karn, when I talked to him the last time, he was still sitting out because of a football injury. Is he back with you yet?
He's begun the process of getting back into practice, and just recently was able to start with some of the drills that we do would be full contact in basketball. So yeah, he's a little bit behind the rest of the team, just getting his basketball legs back under him. But sure, he's going to be a guy who we'll count on here in the future. So
have most of those football players got the football out of their system yet?
It takes a little while. Actually, I was a two-sport athlete growing up as well, so I can certainly relate to those guys. Played football and basketball, and sometimes it takes a few weeks, to get your handles back and get your shot back. But yeah, we're pretty close to being full basketball.
You graduated 6 seniors off of Heath Butler's team.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I think their record was not very good compared to the year before. What was it, 8-15? Year before, they were 14-11 and had actually won games in the tournament, which hadn't been done by Piqua for quite some time.
Sure.
And I like the way Coach Butler handled his team, the way he treated the kids. And I'm just kind of curious, what you talk about getting down and getting the easy baskets. Are you going to be a running gun? You're going to try to outrun them down the floor? You're going to just play, let's just play it around a little bit and see what happens? What are you going to do?
Well, the first thing to address, I think, is the record last year was a little bit deceiving because, when you're 14-11 the previous year or 8-15, and you go back and look at the scores, the results of those games from last year, they lost six or seven games by 8 points. And in basketball, that's 2 layups and 2 defensive stuff.
I wasn't putting it down. I knew exactly
sure,
where
yeah.
you wanted.
But to say, and that I think that's the biggest focus that since the first day that I met these guys is, we have everything that we need. It's going to come down for us to doing the little things in the game to make sure we get that defensive rebound and to make sure that we make our free throws in the guts of the game and make those layups when we have the opportunity. So, as mentioned, we're going to predicate our offense off of our defense. So we'll be forcing the other teams to do things that they don't like to do necessarily, and that kind of plays well with the type of team that we have because, as mentioned, we're not going to be the type of team that can stand in half court and just put our hands up and have everybody, have the goal covered by a 6'8" guy because we don't have one. But we can guard the whole court and make players uncomfortable and hopefully, turn some of those into some easy baskets. So.
Graduated 6 seniors. You got 10 seniors.
We have 10 this year. Yes.
You got 10 seniors now.
Yep.
You got 5 juniors.
5 juniors. Yeah.
No sophomores.
Not this year with the JV. We have quite a few though that will be not with the varsity. We have quite a few though that will be playing with the JV, and it's very important for those guys to be a part of what's going on with our practices, and they're going to be doing the same things that we do, and being prepared because after this year when we graduate, the core of our team, then those guys are going to be asked to step in and do the same thing. So,
substitution-wise, with that many seniors, are you a coach that replaces 5 with 5, or do you take one out, one in? Is your talent deep enough that you can do 5 to 5?
So, as far as the having the 10 seniors, the number one thing that I've talked about with those guys is, regardless of where you are on the depth chart, it's important to take each and every practice as if that's your opportunity to play in a game, and it may come. There may be a few of them who play a few more than others. We've mentioned that there's some guys who were varsity players last year as juniors that will be the core of the team most likely. and there are a few who are, you know, call them role players or whatever the case might be, but everybody has their job on the team. So if it's to be in the games and support your teammates 100% on the bench, and then when your number's called, go in and do your job, then that's, you know, that's the things that make up a successful team. So.
If you've identified your first five, can you tell us who they are?
So as of right now, we have, you know, as mentioned, Ben Schmeezing is probably our leading player overall. If you just go purely off of stats from last year, he averaged 15 points a game and 8 rebounds, and you know that's going to be tough to push that off to the side. So he's definitely going to be one of our lead guys. Hayden Shrub is a player who, you know, exceptional athlete, will also be playing football in college at some point. He hasn't decided exactly where he's going yet. He'll definitely be heavily involved. We have Davon Brown, who was part of the basketball team for the first half of the season last year, and he's
big jumper, kick and jump.
He's got he's another good athlete. He's plays very lateral quickness as well as he had a good football season this year as well. Nick Regola is another player who is, I think, just kind of cracking the surface of the varsity team.
Nick was more of a shooter last year.
And he certainly can shoot it, but he's really coming on learning how to play team defense, and he's another one who is pretty vertically athletic. So
yes,
he has an opportunity to go in there and really help the team rebound, and defensively, that's something that you know, when you can get on the defensive rebounds as the other big guys kind of block out, he can go clean those things up. So he's another one, and then we have a couple of juniors who will be in the mix for us. There's a young man by the name of Corey Tucker. I think he's going to surprise some people at a guard spot. He can really shoot and attack the rim. Very good defender. Trey Richmond is another player who has grown 3 or 4 inches since the last school year, and he's really improved his game. He's a guy that walks around with the basketball in his hand all the time. Corey Cottrell is a senior who is really a great, kind of does a dirty work type of player, dives on the loose balls, take the charges, and you can always have those type of guys. So those are the kind of the top guys, and then that we have currently, and then we'll be mixing in some of the others as we go. So
you have not coached in the GWAC before. You've got a group in the North, in the American North. You've got Sydney, you've got Troy, tradition teams, hate each other, play hard, hug each other afterwards, nice game. You've got Trotwood to deal with. How do you get, having not been involved in those emotional games before, how do you get your team prepared for that? You don't, you hit Trotwood someplace in here. I forget.
They're in the second half of the season.
Yeah, February, Friday the 5th
first
of
game
January.
after the
Yeah, but you start off with Walk again. I think last year we didn't play Walk first for some reason, but years before we have always played them. And it always amazes me that we haven't been able to handle them like I always thought we should have been able to handle this Walk for crying out loud. It's just a little town up the street.
Right.
And we have a difficult time playing it. I think they always do very well in football. We always blame that on their schedule because we don't like their schedules. We think it's too weak.
Yeah.
But how do you get your kids ready for that?
Well, I'll tell you, I grew up as an athlete it was the WOL until my senior year. My senior year was the first year the GWAC was formed. And then I was an assistant coach at Fairmont for 6 years before I became the head coach at Yellow Springs. So grew up with a lot of rivalries down in the south of the GWAC with Centerville and Wayne, and so I know those games are very important. But the way as a coach, and even as a coach at Yellow Springs, the teams that you play, Troy Christian, for example, is a team in that conference, and that's they've had some success in the past. And Dayton Christian is another school who is a larger school, but they're in the same conference. So you always have your teams where, regardless of where you're at, where you'll have a rivalry here or there, or they're the game that circled them. on the schedule or whatever the case might be. But in all honesty, those things are very important, and obviously we have some great rivalries here with, you mentioned Troy and Sydney. We take those games very seriously, but our preparation for each and every game is just as important as the next. So Wapak is the next team on our schedule, the first team on our schedule. I think the style of play that we're going to be impressing just from watching the film of last year's game, I think will sort of make them a little bit uncomfortable for what they like to do. And I think as from watching the film at the beginning of the game, we kind of allowed them to do the things that they were comfortable with, and then it changed. And actually, in the second half, I think we had a great opportunity to win. It ended up being a close game.
Lost the game 64-53.
So, I think the preparation is the key to the success to all that. So.
Well, that game is this coming Friday night.
Yes.
The 1st of January. You're off for a week, and then you play at Butler.
Yep.
And down in Sac.
Mm-hmm.
We lost that game 39-37 last year. That was a close game all the way through. And then you're going to play Milton Union, which was a pretty easy win by 13 points last year. And then Tip City's coming in here. We won that one 48-44. That was a good contest, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 15th of December is when you meet Sydney here for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it to us pretty good
Mm-hmm.
last year, 68-31. And then I forget what the second score was, but it was, I'm not even going to look it up. But,
They were close. It
Yeah.
was a close game, I think, and
they
lost
packed
by
the house
10
up at
points.
Sydney when you
Oh,
go
yeah.
up there, man. It's a good thing you're in a basketball uniform or you couldn't get in up there. It's a tight place.
Yeah.
So, getting ready for all this, you've got a scrimmage tonight, a three-way scrimmage tonight.
Yes.
Lima Senior.
Yeah, we're playing some of the best competition around. We're at Fairmont, who has an exceptional team this year. Wouldn't be surprised to see them be a team that is in the discussion to be one of the best teams in the GWALK. Lima Senior traditionally has a very strong and athletic team, and Meadowdale, who you play the city league teams, you never know exactly what you're going to get, but it's always going to be a challenge. So great way for us to one final day of preparation against someone else, and then we can focus on ourselves for a couple days and get ready for Wapak. So.
Well, listen, we want to encourage everyone to come out and watch those games, especially the home games, and if you can get to the away games, the team will certainly appreciate your support. Elida is another one on your schedule. I got a relative coaching that one, so I'll probably end up making the trip up to Elida with you guys.
Right.
So we want to encourage you to come out and support the team, both girls and boys, and congratulations to the girls team for winning their first game of the season. That's been a while. They're finally making some moves in the right direction. Coach, thanks for your time. Again, welcome to Piqua High School, and we wish you all the best with your team for the rest of the year. We want to thank you for watching us, and we'll do these shows about every 5-6 games and kind of bring you up to date what's going on. And we hope that you'll pay attention and watch. So we'll see you next time.